After a road-heavy start to the season, Indianapolis is a welcome sight for the Indiana Fever, who return to their new home, Indiana Farmers Coliseum, tonight, and the competition is stiff. The defending champions are in town for two straight. It's the Indiana Fever and the Seattle Storm. WNBA basketball here on a Tuesday night on feverbasketball.com. And we welcome you inside the Coliseum alongside former Fever and Storm guard Tully Bevilacqua. I'm Pat Boylan. The Fever looking to snap a 7-game losing streak here tonight, but you get the sense that they've taken a couple steps in the right direction lately.
Well, I was lucky enough to be courtside watching the game, and I could even sense the activity levels were at a much better situation that Marianne Stanley would have been really happy with. And what I really thought was great was the physicality level was what the Fever needed to come out and play like to really put Chicago out of rhythm. And hopefully they can do that again tonight, because I think that's going to be to their advantage.
On Saturday, Indiana got a big boost from their bench. 44 points in what was probably the best game of Lindsey Allen's Indiana Fever career.
Well, someone who only averaged about 13 minutes coming into the game ended up playing double that. But her productivity level as well increased. She was aggressive straight away offensively, taking it off the dribble. She has great court vision and really seemed to work well with Tierra McCowan. But what I liked was she dictated the pace out there offensively for the team, but also was a really aggressive defender as well and put a lot of ball pressure. So that was really good to see.
Well, the Storm are the defending champions. They've got the best record here this season in the WNBA. There's no shortage of star power in Seattle. And Breanna Stewart, she's a former MVP, has started off on an MVP-like level, and Sue Bird at age 40 looks like she's 25.
Well, Breanna Stewart, I mean, what can you say? She's just a phenomenal player. She plays positions 1 through to 5. Everybody has to defend her. She can nail the three. She can take it off the dribble. But she's also an unselfish player as well, and will make that extra pass.
Candace Dupree, a former Indiana Fever forward, one of the legends as well in the rotation here in Seattle.
Well, Candace is in an interesting situation. She's moved to the bench now. She's playing half the minutes as what she did when she was here with the Indiana Fever last season. So she's really just still trying to adjust to her role with the Seattle Storm.
Well, the Indiana Fever trying to get back on the winning track here tonight. They've got the defending champs in town. We've got the starting lineups and the opening tip when we return on feverbasketball.com. Indiana Fever Basketball is brought to you by Ascension St. Vincent, listening to you, caring for you. And by Ortho Indy, official orthopedic provider of the Indiana Fever. It's the Fever and the Storm for two straight Tuesday and Thursday night games. Seattle with the top record in the WNBA, and they have yet to lose away from Seattle this season. They're in the midst of a 5-game road trip as they head to Indianapolis here for a few days. Indiana looking to snap a 7-game losing streak tonight as we take a look at the starting lineups. And for Indiana, Jantel Lavender playing in her 300th game in the WNBA. And for Seattle, plenty of star power in the starting five.
Well, you look at that starting lineup and you look and you try and work out, well, what will the Indiana Fever do defensively? What are they going to take away? Obviously, they have to defend the three-point line, because this is a very good three-point shooting team. They share the basketball, but they also need to get back in transition defense. So communication is going to be key here today.
There's a look at the Indiana Fever bench. Marianne Stanley is in there somewhere. She's the head coach for the Fever in her second season at the helm in Indiana. Stanley coached her 100th WNBA game as a head coach on Saturday. And the head coach in Seattle, that's Noelle Quinn, who took over as a head coach on May 30th of this year. Tully, as Seattle has really groomed her to be the next head coach and somebody that they hope will be leading this franchise for quite some time.
Well, the last time she was in uniform with the Storm, she was winning a championship with them, and then she also obviously won as an assistant coach. So she's got a lot of experience and has learned under Dan Hughes. He's really taught Dan Hughes. When you look at Dan's resume and the players and the former coaches that have come underneath him, it's quite a list.
Terry Kloppenberg as well. They won a title under Coach Klopp last season. And we are underway from Indiana Farmers Coliseum. The Seattle Storm have picked up right where they left off last year. #1 in the WNBA and have won 9 straight road games dating back to last year. And Jewell Loyd, who is on an MVP pace, hits an early 3.
Well, we talked about that three-point line. The Indiana Fever have to extend their defense, make the Seattle Storm put the ball on the floor, get that mid-range game going.
Danielle Robinson gets inside and floats it in. Danielle Robinson played the fewest minutes she has as a member of the Indiana Fever on Saturday. That was in part to the fact that Lindsey Allen in the bench was playing so well. But you certainly want to keep D-Rob fresh and looking like this.
Definitely, and now with Lindsey Allen being more productive, so maybe those two can kind of share those minutes a little bit to keep themselves fresh so they can really dictate the pace out there.
Mitchell, straightaway 3, that's Tiffany. She's been struggling from out there this season at 14%. She's missed 11 straight. Fever have dropped 7 in a row. Seattle lost just 4 times last year, but one of them was to Indiana. And what might have been the upset of the Wubble as Stewart lines up a 3. The Seattle Storm, who shoot it better than anyone from out there at 41%. A couple of their stars hitting early shots from the perimeter as Mitchell on the drive. She hangs, and the reverse for Tiffany Mitchell.
Well, we've talked about Tiffany Mitchell and how she is at her best when she is putting the ball on the floor and being aggressive to the basket, so that's a great start for her.
Loyd will fire another 3, and that one falls as well. Seattle has hit 3 threes in the first 90 seconds here tonight, and this is an area that has plagued Indiana throughout the season. The Fever have not made more three-point shots than their opponent all season. As Kelsey Mitchell turns it over, and they're playing a team in Seattle who shoots it very well and defends it very well.
You know, as a player, you also have to coach yourself out there a little bit as well. So you've already given up 3 threes, so now you have to extend your defense, get closer to your player, communicate, run them off the line, make them do something else and see if, you know, they can get them to miss from the mid-range game, as we see Stewart just then.
Brianna Stewart averaging 21 points per game. She was the league's MVP back in 2018. Breland working on Stewart, the hesitation.
Pat, it'll be interesting to see when Marianne Stanley decides to bring Tiara McCowan onto the floor.
McCowan had a big game on Saturday, 20 points and 13 rebounds. Marianne Stanley has gone with this front court, which includes Jantel Lavender and Jessica Breland for 3 consecutive games as Robinson connects with Lavender.
Well, that was just a great pick-and-roll sequence then by Tiffany Mitchell and Jantel Lavender. Obviously, they're looking to give Tiffany Mitchell the 3. That time she didn't take it, took it off the dribble.
A whistle off the ball going against Tiffany Mitchell.
You can see Samuelson just kind of giving Tiffany Mitchell that look at the 3, but Tiffany Mitchell is doing a good job of being able to get into the paint using the screen, and that's where her productivity levels are at a higher level itself.
They work it around the perimeter. Here's a Samuelson 3. Katie Lou Samuelson in her 3rd team in 3 years, hoping she's found a landing spot here for Seattle. Sharpshooter out of UConn as Robinson on the attack. She draws the foul. Danielle Robinson will go to the line for free throws. She is one of the best in the WNBA at 91%.
It was that change of speed just then that really set that up. As she just lulled her defense then, just paused for a moment, and then just that explosive first step.
Robinson opened up the season with 16 consecutive threes. Noelle Quinn, the head coach in Seattle. This is a coach who is actually younger than a couple of her players.
Yeah.
Sue Bird, Candace Dupree. As Stewart fires a straightaway 3, defended well by Mitchell, and Tiffany pulls down the rebound for Indiana. Robinson on the hesitation, met there by Russell.
We have a mismatch here with D-Rob and Mercedes Russell, but
Kelsey Mitchell's 3 off target. Kelsey been shooting it a lot better from out there, 46% in her last 3. Indiana almost certainly needs her playing at a high level here, not only tonight, but throughout the rest of the season, as Samuelson's 3 is short.
that was a great contested three-point shot, and that's what you want to see. If Seattle are going to take those threes, then just be there to contest all of them.
Lavender steps into that too and rattles it home. So at Jantel Lavender's 300th game of her WNBA career, she's knocked down her first couple of shots. Indiana has tied things up here midway through the first. Mitchell got a hand in there, deflected it as they were looking backdoor for Lloyd. Mitchell sets up Lavender. Indiana number 2 in the WNBA on the glass. It's been their strongest aspect of the season so far. Shot clock down to 5. They go back inside, and Lavender makes it home.
Well, Seattle doing a lot of switching, and so what Indiana doing well is that they're spacing the floor and just being patient in their offense.
Russell goes to work. Met there by Lavender, who got a piece, and Breland able to save it. Seattle's opened up just 3 of 9 from the floor. All 3 of those shots are three-pointers. As Lloyd gets inside, and Breland got a piece.
Breland's defense has been rock steady for the Indiana Fever, and she's done a good job in helping out when the guards have been beaten off the dribble.
Mitchell attacking Samuelson, left that one short. Sue Bird at age 40. Brianna Stewart, a former MVP, attacks the rim and ties the game. Brianna Stewart with 5 early points for Seattle. Indiana on the defensive end helped the Storm under 40% here early from Indiana Farmers Coliseum. On Thursday, the Indiana Fever take on the Seattle Storm. It's their second battle in 3 days. You can catch all the action in person by purchasing tickets on feverbasketball.com/tickets. Would love to have you here in the building at Indiana Farmers Coliseum, our home for the rest of 2021. Indiana has certainly played better in Indianapolis this year. The Fever have had 3 fourth-quarter leads, and their lone win came in Indy. Victoria Vivians pulls up with a shot clock winding down. Vivians played just 8 minutes Saturday's loss. She's played under 10 minutes in each of her last 2. Still looking to find her footing here in 2021. Candace Dupree has checked in for Seattle. Dupree gets inside and draws the foul on Vivians. So Candace Dupree will shoot a pair of free throws. She enters tonight's 5 points shy of Cappie Pondexter for 4th all time. We got to watch her climb the ladder plenty when she was in Indiana for 4 seasons.
She just, every time she has the ball in her hands, it's like time just slows down. She is in no rush. She has that internal clock of hers, precisely where it needs to be, and she just, when she was with the Indiana Fever, she just made everyone just relax and settle down.
Vivians had it knocked away by Bird. Robinson gets back, Bird pulls up and connects.
Sue Bird, I tell you, that poke around defense has been her trademark, and something that I still never really understood, even training against her when I was playing with Seattle. You've got to cross that ball over as soon as you get past her.
They go length of the floor, Stewart, and what a find there from Bird.
Well, that's just phenomenal. I mean, I didn't get the chance to really talk about Sue in my introduction, but I mean, Lauren Jackson, Adia Barnes, and myself, we were all having a chat with Sue, and we just like, you look like you are in the best shape of your career right now.
which is really remarkable at the age of 40. It's Bird's 18th year. She's got a lot of help with her. Jewel Lloyd, Brianna Stewart. This team has won a couple of championships in the last 3 years. Lavender, this is a 3. That won't fall. Indiana's opened up 0 of 4 from out there. And I think one aspect that really speaks to what Bird is doing, she's averaging 11 points and 6 assists as Stewart gets inside. Those are the same numbers she averaged in 2010 when she was 29.
That's just phenomenal. And to quote Lauren Jackson, she just said that Sue Bird was like a fine wine. She just gets better with age. But she takes a great care of her body. As we see Kelsey Mitchell there, just unable to finish on that, but here comes Seattle this time with an errant pass.
Seattle with 10 straight points. Mitchell can't put an end to that. Launch and hit a corner 3. That's her first of the evening. Mitchell has been shooting it better from out there. 18 points per game over her last 3. She's starting to look a lot more like the Kelsey Mitchell we saw last year.
And that was a great wide open shot as well. The Indiana Fever recognized, as we see Sue Bird taking it down the middle. Some miscommunication there on the Fever defensive side. But the Indiana Fever, if they can get that ball moving around quickly to make Seattle's defense have to scramble more.
Mitchell driving baseline, draws the double team. Robinson floats it up and draws the foul. So Danielle Robinson will head back to the line. Robinson played 16 minutes on Saturday, the fewest of her season, as Lindsey Allen came in. We will see likely very shortly here. Indiana ready to check Breland and McCowan back in.
Tierra McCowan had a great performance against the Chicago Sky. Really came in and made her presence felt straight away. Chicago really physically didn't have an answer for her.
Robinson, who is second in the league in steals, knocks down the free throws. Robinson called for the foul there on Lloyd. What a year it's been so far for Jewel Lloyd. 19 points per game, that's a career high. And her efficiency numbers are off the charts, almost at 50, 40, 90. I think you could make a case that Lloyd's the MVP right now. And I think you could similarly make the case that Stewart has been the best player on their team.
I mean, that jump shot right there, just so smooth coming off that screen, snaking the screen. One of the best mid-range jump shooters in the league.
Mitchell pulls up. You'll see Mitchell 1 of 5 here in the first quarter. Seattle has the league's #1 ranked offense, but on the defensive end, really improving. In fact, they're top in the league since the month of June. And there's Lloyd off balance, getting it to go. Seattle gonna close the first quarter strong. A 16-5 run for Seattle to end the first. Behind 10 points from Jewel Lloyd. It's the Fever and the Storm. We're through 1 from the Coliseum. Quarter, a couple for Lloyd, 1 there for Stewart. Indiana going to need to defend the perimeter here well tonight to get back into this one.
Well, after they had made those first 3 shots, the Fever did a good job of getting out of contesting as they missed then their next 4. But now Jewel Lloyd is stepping up at that mid-range game and just nailing them. So now they have to adjust a little bit to her.
And that can be such a challenge because you need to step out on those players. They're such capable perimeter shooters. But we know what Stewart can do off the bounce. We know what Lloyd can do off of the dribble. Oh, and there's Bird there.
Yeah, there's Bird there. I mean, that's what makes this team such a well-balanced team and so hard to defend because they have so many weapons in different areas.
Kelsey Mitchell hitting her second shot of the evening. Lindsey Allen has stepped in here for the first time tonight, coming off a career-high 12 points on Saturday against Chicago. Dupree, how many times have we seen her do that?
with that leaning, that fadeaway lean. We've seen it many a times, but normally it's for us, for the Fever. But obviously she's coming out of playing against her former team.
Mitchell goes behind the back and connects. Kelsey Mitchell showing off the array of moves there as Mitchell starts to heat up here in the second quarter. She's now got 7. Dupree goes back to that fader, can't get the roll. There is McCowan with the rebound. McCowan with a 20-point, 13 rebound night against Chicago. Marianne Stanley really lauding her ability to see the game off of the bench, and she feels like that helps her. See 4 or 5 minutes, and they go right back into her. And McCowan will shoot free throws here.
Well, that's exactly what they need from Tiara McCowan. Just get that position down low, but as we see here, just establishing just outside that defensive restricted area. And the spacing is what made that play happen as well. The floor was well spaced, the guards were out on the perimeter, so there was no help defense there.
McCowan, though, missed 5 free throws on Saturday, and in a 4-point game, those were certainly pivotal. This is her first here tonight. McCowan was 4th in the WNBA in rebounding. Indiana using her off the bench here lately. Tiffany Prince has stepped in for Seattle. Here's Ezi Magbagor, second-year pro out of Australia. A couple Australians
yeah.
on this Storm team.
Olympians as well. They will be representing Australia at this year's Olympics, so congratulations to them. What an honor.
Stephanie Talbot is the other. She's in the game as well. Leads top shooter from the perimeter by percentages.
The shot didn't go in by McCowan, but I like the fact that it went back into her on the outlet pass that she initially made.
There's Brianna Stewart, who's now into double digits. She and Lloyd have combined for 21 of Seattle's 31 points here so far. Kaiser Gondrazik, Indiana's 4th overall draft pick. As Breland steps back. Jordan Canada. Lamar Canada has seen her minutes dwindle some. She struggles a bit with her shot. Indiana on a 3-on-2. Mitchell had it deflected. And Stewart pulls down the rebound for Seattle.
Well, that was good defense by Seattle, because that was going to be an easy 2-point basket for Mitchell on that transition.
They go inside for Magbagor. Allen thought she had earned a jump ball. Now a loose ball foul as Mitchell pulls down the rebound.
Look at that fight. Kelsey Mitchell just getting in there. And that is one area of her game that she has definitely improved on over these last few years, has been her defense. Is a lot more consistent.
And she wants to be known as a two-way player. Always going to be known for that shooting ability and just that natural scores touch. Mitchell understands all the top players in this league can get it done on both ends.
We have a great view, and that shot didn't look good off Stewie's hands from the get-go.
Breland, step back jumper, that will fall. It's Jessica Breland's first scoring. I think she's done a nice job of affecting the game here lately in so many ways. She's doing that again here tonight. 11 minutes, she's got 5 rebounds, a couple of blocks, an assist.
And there's also, you know, plays in defense that won't show up statistically for her as well, just being there to help, stunt.
There's Gondrazik staying aggressive and drawing the foul. Kaiser Gondrazik. 18 minutes on Saturday, the most she has in her career. And she will shoot free throws when we return from Indianapolis. The Blue Cross and Blue Shield and the Indiana Fever are giving it our all to build healthier communities for all. Visit anthem.com/fever to learn more. Storm lead Indiana 31-23. This will be 2 games in 3 days between these two teams. Indiana and Seattle actually matched up on June 2nd. That was the one game we will not have for you this season. Seattle won that game by 15. So on Thursday, these two teams will already be done playing each other. It's kind of a quirky schedule, and COVID has a lot to do with that. You see a lot of these mini-series,
which I actually kind of like. I like to go back-to-back with that team, and especially, you know, if you've had a loss, you want to have another crack at them straight away while the memories are still fresh.
Catch Gondrzik there for the hold after she missed a pair of free throws.
But unfortunately for the opposition, Seattle are a very good team on the road.
They've won 9 straight away from their building. The WNBA record is 12. So they're hoping to close in on that as Mercedes Russell floats it in. Russell in her 4th year out of Tennessee. Really a nice find. Was the 22nd overall pick back in 2018. The Seattle team lost a couple of key players in the offseason. Alicia Clark, Natasha Howard. Russell has filled in nicely in the middle for Howard, a one-time most improved player, as Breland answers on the other end.
Breland's finding some space there just underneath the free throw line. Just being able to create off that dribble.
Straight away, Stewart, a wide open 3, and she drills it.
We said it, it's the wide open 3s where she's got time to set her feet.
Stewart with 14 points, knocked down a couple from out there. Three-point line has been Indiana's Achilles heel here so far this year. Allen draws the foul inside.
As you can see there, just the defense all collapsing with Mercedes, which left a wide open Breanna Stewart, which is not what you want. There's got to be a lot more communication with that to know where you're rotating.
Tierra McCowan will shoot 2 free throws. 4th in the league in rebounding is McCowan, 9th in blocks. Those 20 points she had on Saturday were the most she has scored since the opener. And as you look at where Indiana stands, the areas they want to improve in, how they get on the right track, you kind of sense McCowan and Kelsey Mitchell hold the keys to a lot of that.
Most definitely. I mean, you've got someone that can dominate in the paint, and you've also got someone that can dominate from beyond the three-point line. So now you've got to get those other pieces blending in with them and complementing their games.
Prince will pull up from the mid-range. Mitchell battling for it underneath. Stewart able to save it. Shot clock down to 7. Prince will fire again. Gondrzik gets it ahead to Breland, who fades and leaves it short. Now Bird has the mismatch on to Breland. She'll fire a 3 and put it through. Sue Bird gets in on the three-point shooting. 6 points, 3 assists for Bird.
I mean, such awe of Sue Bird. It's, you know, it's kind of surreal just watching her still out there.
As McCowan pulls down the offensive rebound and the putback. There was a point in that 4th quarter against Chicago on Saturday where Indiana's offense was struggling some, and Tierra McCowan was keeping things afloat on the offensive glass. Indiana looks to get stops on this end as Allen is called for the foul. Seattle leads it by 10. Sue Bird, one of the legends, knocking down a 3.
Nancy has missed 4 of her 5 shots. Jewel Lloyd back-to-back, that time from 3. It's good to see Jessica Breland, who opted out last year. Stewie, oh my goodness.
Been impressed with Seattle's defensive activity so far this game, and also Jewel Lloyd, who has started off red hot. A lot of defense to offense so far for the Storm. You got to fake a pass to make a pass. If you're Jessica Breland, the long arms of Brianna Stewart down to Sue Bird, and how quickly, you lost the likes of Kansas Dupree and Erica Wheeler, Natalie Achanwa, but the additions of experienced players. Nice cut to the basket by Stewie, like Lavender.
On the field in the first half than Seattle, but Seattle hit 5 threes.
But this cross-court pass here on point from Sue Bird, and defensively everyone.
Lindsay Allen and Danielle Robinson in their first years with Indiana. There's the outside shot.
One of the challenges when you're playing the Seattle Storm is how well they move the basketball. How do you even see that pass if you're Sue Bird?
50 points, but she did not start tonight. There's Russell with it. Now Jewel Lloyd, fade away. Oh, so beautiful. Canada with 12 in the shot clock. To Lloyd in the corner. Gets her feet set. Extension and splash. Jewel Lloyd had not had one in the last 5 until now.
Tonight's game night special is a Fever Mini Basketball for only $10. You can support your Fever and get the best prices by shopping tonight's game night special at feverteamstore.com. Sure you are updating your Indiana Fever look and then heading over to feverbasketball.com and joining us in person. This is Indiana's 6th home game of the year, but just the 2nd here from the Coliseum, where we will play the remainder of 2021. Seattle shooting 52% from the field, 44% from 3, and Stewart is wide open again, and a rare miss for Stewart. He's got 14 points, 9 rebounds, nearly a double-double here in the first half.
Well, I wouldn't gamble on that too many times because she's not going to miss too many of those wide open shots, but there's a lot of miscommunication going on. Game plan not being adhered to out there.
Bird to Russell, who pulls over Robinson, and a blocking foul is the call. They say Robinson was not set.
D-Rob just taking a little step to her left, but she clearly read what Mercedes was going to do.
No argument there from D-Rob. Stewart backing in on Lavender, fades.
An interesting stat for Seattle is that they're one of the worst teams for second chance points.
Seattle certainly plays smaller. They're not a great rebounding team. 9th in the league. That's an area where the Fever could look to take advantage tonight. Seattle's actually beating Indiana on the glass by 4 here so far. And this is, I think, a testament to Seattle's improving defense. They're 5th in the league, but 1st since the month of June began. And everything feels kind of choppy for Indiana, like they haven't been able to find that same momentum, that same rhythm that they had on Saturday.
Yes, there's definitely no flow, no kind of rhythm that they have out there offensively, and obviously defensively there's some breakdowns as well. So that no doubt will be addressed at halftime. But Seattle are a team that averages 89 points a game and only gives up 75 to their opponents.
Indiana leaving a lot of points at the line tonight, where they are 6 of 12. Bird, that's a deep 3, and she hits it.
Birdie, birdie, birdie. That was like an NBA 3.
Bird with 9 points, 3 assists here in the first half. And a quiet half from Kelsey Mitchell. That's a deep 2. Mitchell 3 of 9 from the floor. She battles inside with Stewart. And both Mitchells defending her there. Jump ball is the call.
That was good help defense then by Tiffany Mitchell. You see Kelsey Mitchell giving up a few inches, and you can see the defense quickly swarming down.
Stewart wins the tip. Lloyd finds Russell, who couldn't finish. Well, that was a pretty find there by Jewel Lloyd. Indiana hasn't had many of these transition opportunities, but Tiffany Mitchell is one of the best. Count it in a foul for Tiffany Mitchell. Indiana looking to set her up in more of those opportunities.
Just look at that. Woo! Look at that crossover. Just got Sue flat-footed. Sue's unhappy about that foul, but Tiffany Mitchell just so quick off that crossover, change of direction, and a good finish.
And Mitchell has passed Shavante Zealous here in the first half for 6th all-time in Fever history. 1,570 points. Added off the shoe of Robinson. They don't call it a kickball. Robinson trips, and Mitchell turns it right back over. Bird bounces. Russell had it knocked away. And Mitchell is then held by Russell.
Kelsey Mitchell just doing a good job of getting into that help position there and getting a hand in. Obviously the play before was unfortunate with Danielle Robson falling down at the moment that she was lobbing the ball into the front court.
Indiana hoping to chip away a little bit here as we get to the half. The Fever are into the penalty. And Kelsey Mitchell is an 83% free throw shooter, but Indiana just not hitting them there tonight. 7 of 14, and they've had good free throw shooters at the line. Danielle Robinson's missed a couple. An uncharacteristic miss there for Kelsey, who splits the pair. So 8 here in the first half.
Indiana just need to dig deep here if they can get a good stop, although Brianna Stewart, maybe that is a game plan, because that's like the third three-pointer she's had wide open.
She hit that first one, a couple of uncharacteristic misses, but a loose ball foul on Kelsey Mitchell. Fever did have a foul to give. Lloyd, step back. That won't go. Mitchell will have to heave, and Mitchell will not get it off. Seattle leads by as many as 12. Fever trim that deficit down to 8 as we hit the half here from Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Stay with us here for our halftime coverage. Tiffany Mitchell and the Indiana Fever trailing by 8 at halftime to Brianna Stewart's Seattle Storm. Game 13 of a 32-game WNBA season will, of course, break in the middle of it. For the Olympics, the Seattle Storm are the defending champs, and they lead Indiana by 8 points as we get ready here for the start of the third quarter. Look at your first half stats. Indiana shooting at 36% from the field. And once again, that three-point line totally sticks out a little bit.
It sure does. I mean, Seattle got off to a red-hot start from behind the arc, but then Indiana adjusted to that and then started to contest a lot of shots. We did see a few open shots at the end of that second quarter, though, for Brianna Stewart not go down. But if we can get Kelsey Mitchell, get maybe Victoria Vivians, a couple other players just really stepping up and hitting some outside shots just to really then open up the paint for your post players, it'll be a really good second half, I feel.
Indiana has done a nice job of attacking, though. They've taken 15 free throws to Seattle's 2. However, they've hit just 8 of the 15. So you hit at your normal rate. Indiana's about an 80% free throw shooting team. And you're only a few points behind the Storm, despite what was likely a first half where Marianne Stanley felt like offensively Indiana didn't accomplish a lot of the goals that she would like to.
Well, you're definitely doing the right thing by, especially in transition. They've been aggressive. Seattle got into foul trouble, and so they were being able to get to that free throw line, like you said. But it all adds up when one player misses one, another player misses one, 2 here. It all adds up, and so, as you say, this game could be a lot closer right now.
Brianna Stewart, the MVP back in 2018. She suffered that Achilles injury in 2019 and has come back looking every bit the player she was before. Marianne Stanley. You see Steve Smith right behind her to her right. There's Gary Kloppenberg. We talked about him momentarily. He very briefly coached as an assistant in Indiana. Kloppenberg has been a longtime legendary WNBA coach. And he took over as the head coach last year when Dan Hughes medically was unavailable to go to the Wubble and help coach that team to a championship. And now is kind of mentoring Noelle Quinn a little bit as well. She talked about how helpful it is to have somebody like Klopp on that staff.
Well, like you said, Klopp has had many years under his belt, and he also did a stint in there as the head coach of the Tulsa Shock back in the day. So a wealth of experience for Noelle Quinn to really draw from.
Second half underway here for Indiana. The Fever hit just 1 3-pointer in half number 1. As Tiffany Mitchell pulls up and knocks down her first shot of the third quarter. Tiffany Mitchell with 5 points in the first half.
Well, that's a great start for Tiffany Mitchell. She's got 7 for the game, and you can see her getting into it a lot more in that second quarter, attacking offensively.
Lloyd slips it to Stewart. Samuelson, an open 3. And Katie Lou Samuelson, who was the 4th overall pick back in 2019, was by Chicago, then spent a year in Dallas. And as Seattle was going through their offseason and making their adjustments, dealing with some cap space challenges, as Mitchell drives on the other end and draws the foul. Samuelson, I think, a really good find for them, kind of that buy low type of player who's struggled a little bit early in her career, but she had just a remarkable career at UConn, a knockdown shooter, and you just get the sense that she's one of those players, if she can find the right environment, you'll see why she was picked 4th overall.
And I mean, if she's going to continue to knock down those threes, what a perfect fit here with the Seattle Storm for her. I mean, you have Brianna Stewart, who's been double-teamed, sometimes triple-teamed, and then Katie Lou is out there wide open on the 3-point line. I mean, it's a luxury for Seattle.
A rare miss from Tiffany Mitchell. Indiana has really struggled from the line here tonight. And some uncharacteristic misses as well. Mitchell's missed a shot. Kelsey's 1 of 2 from the line. Danielle Robinson has missed 2. All of those add up, especially when you're looking to make a comeback. As Russell, good defense there by Breland. Indiana didn't get many fast break opportunities in the first half. Mitchell sees the double. And Breland had it taken away by Bird, who read that perfectly.
She did. You can see that help defense coming across as she read that pass by Breland. That time, Jewel Lloyd not able to connect on the 3-point line.
Sue Bird, by the way, has not missed a shot tonight. 9 points, 3 assists. The efficiency of the Seattle team as a whole is really remarkable.
You know, and that's one thing about Sue Bird is it's very rare to see her take a bad shot.
Robinson steps back on Russell. Bank shot won't fall. Bird couldn't save it, neither could Samuelson. And Seattle turns it over. Both teams have taken pretty good care of the ball. That's just Seattle's 7th. Indiana's turned it over just 4 times. That's an area where they have been slowly improving, keeping better care of the ball.
See a lot of movement off the ball, swinging the wings, getting them coming off those screens, trying to shake the defense. Who says, we see Chantel Lavender. You and I could probably go out there on the floor and put X's where we think she's going to shoot from, because it's always that same range, that 1 foot either side of the three-point line.
But when she can get it in rhythm and when she's open, you know, the super analytic mind might not think that's a great shot, but that's something that she has, over the course of her career, proven she can hit. And when she gets it in rhythm and when she can take that shot open, it really is a high efficiency shot for Lavender.
What's that old saying? If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it.
Lloyd looking inside. Stewart hauls it in and lays it in. A bullet pass there from Jewell Lloyd. Kind of quietly. It's one area where Jewell Lloyd has really stepped up her game this year as well. Over 4 assists per game. She's top 10 in the WNBA in assists. She becomes a really well-rounded player now in year number 7. Robinson gets to the rim and couldn't finish. Now Bird trying to hook up with Lloyd on the other end. Lloyd couldn't bring it in.
We see that nice reversal of the ball, looking high-low, just making those extra passes. That's what Seattle Storm do a very good job of, is making the extra passes, reversing the ball from side to side, really shaking up the defense and finding the open player for the best shot possible. As we see Tiffany Mitchell, she's starting to find her form now.
A lot of these shots here in the second half for Indiana. They're contested looks, they're deep twos, but the Fever are knocking that shot down. Bird back to Samuelson. That three's an air ball.
They're doing a good job.
Back within 6 here. Breland working on Stewart, and Stewart there, stride for stride, comes up with a block. It's an area Breanna Stewart doesn't get enough credit for her defense. Robinson with the poke. She forces the turnover. A little Sue Bird-esque there from D-Rob.
Yes. Right back at her, but you know, D-Rob, she's always getting those hands in there, trying to always be disruptive.
I'll say Mitchell touched that one last. And Indiana turns it over for just the 5th time this afternoon. It really is amazing. Now, I'm sure Seattle would tell you that they don't feel like they're quite into their typical rhythm as well, but things have felt pretty choppy for the Fever. They're shooting under 40%. They're taking on the best team in the WNBA, and they're right here with them. 6-point deficit midway through the third as Talbot gets inside and banks it home over Robinson.
Well, Stephanie Talbot, she's been a good pickup for the Seattle Storm. She was with the Phoenix Mercury, then was traded to New York. But she gives them, again, that three-point look, as well as being an inside presence as well. As we see the bank is open here on Saturday evening at the Coliseum.
Oh, Indiana finding that deep 2 working well for them here in the third quarter. Lloyd leans in. Big shot won't fall.
Indiana just doing a great job chipping away as we see Sue Bird again showing us that trademark poke.
Bird touched that one last, and it'll stay with Indiana. The Fever hanging around here, down by 6 midway through the third. You can nominate a champion in your community. The Indiana Fever and Anthem are honoring champions in our community through the Indiana Fever Anthem Assist Award. For further details or to nominate your community champion, visit feverbasketball.com/Anthem Assists. Midway through the third quarter here from Indianapolis. Indiana has trailed by as many as 12. That deficit is down to 6 here. Lavender turns it over. Indiana still with their starting 5. We have not seen Marianne Stanley go to her bench nearly as often as she did on Saturday. That bench scored 44 points on Saturday and just 4 points here so far tonight. Tiara McCowan has all of the scoring for the non-starters. Dupree backing in on Breland. Here's Stewart, got a step on Lavender and lays it in. Brianna Stewart with 18 points.
Well, that's just tough to defend. You're going out to defend the three-point shot, but then she's so aggressive off the dribble as well. But Indiana doing a great job. Tiffany Mitchell just forcing her way into the paint. Great finish. And Pat, I just look at the free throw stat right now and think to myself, Indiana could either be tied, they could be up.
Indiana's just 9 of 17 from there. Seattle, though, will be going to the line as Jewel Lloyd draws the foul on Lavender. Fever have taken 14 more free throws than Seattle have, but they are just +6 on made free throws, where Indiana is just a tick over 50% on the night. Breland will fire a three, and that's an air ball.
Yeah, that's one of those occasions where you think, okay, Lil, let's get the ball moving around hands. You can probably get that shot again if it comes back to you, but not on that initial first pass.
Jewel Lloyd staying aggressive here in the second half. Earns back-to-back trips to the line. He took just 2 free throws in the first half. This will be attempts 2 and 3 of the second half for Seattle. And Jewel Lloyd is an 86% free throw shooter. And that game-winning 3 over Dallas in overtime earlier this year. One of the highlights of the WNBA
That was
season.
phenomenal, yes. That brought rain with it, that shot.
Just 0.8 on the clock. And she won it in overtime. She now has 2 game-winning shots in her career where the buzzer sounded while the ball was in the air.
I can still picture that shot from the corner in the wobble.
Yep. Lloyd with a little 5-0 run on her own has put the Storm back up by double digits. Mitchell steps back, finds some space. And nobody got back on Talbot, who hesitates and lays it in. Just like that, the Storm have their largest lead of the evening.
Well, Talbot leaked early on that one, and no one recognized that by the Fever.
Mitchell. And they'll call a foul. As they will say Lloyd didn't give her space to land.
That's been a big emphasis this year.
So Mitchell will shoot 3 free throws. Mitchell with 8 points and 4 assists. She was 6th in the league in scoring last year, 17th this year. Trending in the right direction, averaging 18 points per game in her last 3 coming into this one.
You know, I think one of the talking points with that rule about allowing the player, the shooter to land, it's like, well, how much forward? Is it straight up and down for that player? When they shoot, you very rarely see shooters go straight up and down. They do have, most of the time, slight forward momentum.
Mitchell, though, can't hit that one. So she's missed a couple at the line. Indiana just 55% from the stripe tonight. Lloyd fading in the lane. That one rolls out.
Unfortunate, not able to control that ball, Tiffany Mitchell, because Tierra McCown had good positioning. She has a second crack at it, but can't complete the shot.
Cowan with 4 points, 3 rebounds. She's played 12 minutes so far, and Talbot is a knockdown 3-point shooter. Well, she doesn't miss many open from out there. Dupree able to save it, and Canada in amongst the trees.
For a moment there, I thought the players had stopped for a second. I was trying to see if a whistle had been blown, but
Seattle defense, we've seen them throw a little bit of zone at time to time. Indiana has just been kind of held at an arm's length so far. Allen, who had maybe the best game of her professional career on Saturday, still looking for her first scoring tonight. Allen with a shot clock down to 3. Vivians will have to fire. That's a deep shot.
Well, that was a tough shot for her, but she had to take it. Obviously with the shot clock winding down.
Mitchell, pull up 3. Mitchell connects.
And that's the shot we're used to seeing Kelsey Mitchell taking in transition.
Mitchell's hit both of Indiana's 3s tonight. It's a 10-point lead for Seattle. Vivians battling down there with Stewart. Victoria Vivians, another one of those players that you kind of hope starts to settle in here. She's played a little less the last couple of games in single-digit minutes. She was a 40% three-point shooter as a rookie. Of course, has dealt with a litany of knee injuries since.
Now she's got a huge role there trying to defend Brianna Stewart, but Stewart is just so good, especially with that fadeaway. She does that step-back fadeaway from the low block.
Mitchell pulls up and hits another. That is a long 2 for Mitchell. Kelsey's hit back-to-back shots. All of a sudden, Mitchell with 15. A couple seconds here between the clocks. Seattle led by 8 at the half, and led by as many as 13. This one's still, though, in striking distance. Lloyd, miscommunication on the Indiana defense. Lloyd couldn't make him pay. Both players, Vivians and Mitchell, went with the roller.
Yes, you could see them both come together, but then there was no verbal communication as to who was actually going to take. So they both went with Stewart, which left a wide open Jewel Lloyd.
Mitchell on the drive, gets to the rim. That floater won't fall, so it's a 10-point deficit. The Fever looking to overcome as we head to the 4th. The Fever and the Storm. Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart looking to stay perfect on the road. Join the Indiana Fever for the game on August 28th, and we celebrate breast cancer survivors. Remember to wear pink to the game to support the Ascension St. Vincent Foundation. You can text GIVE-SV to 53901 to donate and save lives by increasing awareness of breast cancer through education and providing free mammograms for those in need. One of these special nights on the calendar every single season. All right, Tully, 10 minutes here left to go. This one's still in striking distance for Indiana. What are you looking to see as we open the 4th?
Well, I think they just need to up their defensive intensity just a little bit more, get more physical, but just really scrap. Just make it hard for Seattle to get any rhythm or flow in their offense and start making those free throws.
Dupree able to haul in a tough pass from Magbagor, and she was fouled on the floor.
That was a tough catch for Dupree to make initially. There seemed to be a lot of defense in there, but just managed to come away with that.
It's Sue Bird and 4 bench players to start the 4th for Seattle. Another foul on Indiana, 2 on this possession. Kelsey Mitchell is tagged for the foul.
Well, Kelsey Mitchell had done the hard work. You know, she just kept her player in front of her for most of that play. Prince was trying to get past her, but Kelsey Mitchell, great defense on that occasion, but at the last second, just brought the arms down.
Prince is an 87% foul shooter over her career. She misses the first. 2-time All-Star back earlier in her career with Chicago. She holds the record for the most points scored in a high school girls basketball game, 113.
Wow.
Any guesses which record or who she topped with that record previously?
Cheryl Miller.
You got it.
Boom. Wow, that's impressive. I mean, at what point do you just not put 5 players on her? Make somebody else score.
She's had a great WNBA career here in year number 12 as Bird finds some space. That 3 is short. Vivian's battling for it. Able to toss it what like would have been off Dupree, but I think they said she stepped on the baseline.
Seattle have really cooled off from the 3-point line. Now 6 of 19 themselves.
Unfortunately for the Fever, it looks like another game where Indiana will make less than their opponent from there. Indiana's hit just 2. Fever have been outscored from the 3-point line every game this season. Dupree backing in on Breland, who tried to pull the chair. There's Talbot working the baseline. Oh, a happy birthday to Stephanie Talbot. She turns 27 today. As Indiana looks to establish the post there with McCowan. And a whistle on Magbagor.
Well, I'd certainly like to have 27 candles still on my cake, but you know, Talbot just reading her defender went to double Dupree. She was backing it in, and good find by Dupree.
Breland lofting it up there for McCowan. Beautiful find from Jessica Breland. And McCowan lays it in. 6 points for Tierra McCowan tonight. Indiana hasn't been able to establish her as much as they'd like to.
McCowan has just been out there for 15 minutes of this game as we see another miss by Prince this time from the 3-point line, and Kelsey Mitchell running the floor.
It's a Mitchell connection.
She showed us that burst of speed, and you know, she brought it back to 9 points. In Seattle, they are going to talk about it because they do not like seeing this Indiana Fever team get to less than double digits now.
So little 4-0 burst, but the Fever back within single digits. Tiffany to Kelsey for the buckets. Fever fans, we need your help. We would love your feedback on tonight's streaming experience. Visit feverbasketball.com/survey to help us improve your Indiana Fever game day. Indiana and Seattle for the first of what will be 2 games over 3 days here from Indianapolis. The Storm see their lead cut back to single digits, so they go the direction of the MVP, and she finds Russell for the buckets.
You know, on that occasion there, I felt like there was a little overhelp. Stewart wasn't actually looking at the basket. She had good coverage, so maybe a stunt, but they're very good at finding that open player once they see that double team coming.
Breland had it knocked away by Bird. McCowan able to save it. Breland a deep 2. That one will fall. Nice work there by McCowan to keep that possession alive.
Some great work there by the big girl, scrapping and, as you said, keeping the play alive, and Breland doing a great job knocking down that long jump shot.
Bird got the foul call there. Cowan getting on the floor, able to keep that possession alive. And as Marianne Stanley still kind of tweaks her right now 3-player big rotation, that's the type of play that can earn you more minutes.
Oh, you love to see it. I mean, you know, as a guard that pretty much lived diving on the ball, on those loose balls all the time, it's always good to see when that big player, your post player, is doing the same thing as well.
Bird now into double digits with 11 points. A trio of Bird, Lloyd, and Stewarts with 46 tonight. McCowan looking for Breland, able to save it. Breland gets underneath. Had it blocked by Stewart, a foul there as well. There's the second foul on Brianna Stewart. Stewart will be representing Team USA at the Olympics. We've got all-star voting, which is beginning today, where you can vote your favorite Fever players on the WNBA app or WNBA.com. Get your votes in before June 27th. And tune in for that game on July 14th. An interesting format this year. They've done this before, but it's been a few years, where Team USA is going to take on the non-All-Stars. I should say the non-Team USA All-Stars.
I just know that it is going to be a very competitive game because there are so many players that Team USA has to choose from. So many great players and so many informed players right now in the WNBA that aren't on Team USA but are having phenomenal seasons. Minaj Eleni, for one, comes to mind. So it's going to be a very competitive game.
And you know, if you're one of those players, if you're in the U.S. that wasn't selected for that team, you're looking to make a point. You're looking to potentially get yourself on this roster for a future Olympics.
And it's also, you know, because you have limited time in preparing for such a big event. Obviously, Coach Dawn Staley will be looking forward to having her team have a good hit out.
See this zone here from the Storm.
Back into that 2-3 zone.
Breland sees the double, out to Mitchell. The one thing about the zone is, if you move the ball well, it can be susceptible to the three-point shot. Mitchell not able to hit that one there.
You're exactly right. You need to move the ball. If you can get it into the keyway by either a pass or a dribble, that's effective as well. But definitely moving it from side to side, shaking the defense up, is going to get you that open shot.
Mitchell puts on the brakes. Athletic move. Shot won't fall. And McCowan is called for the foul on the other end. Nice sportsmanship there from Tierra. That already has Seattle in the penalty. We talked about those first couple of fouls on that opening possession. And with 6:02, Seattle enters the penalty, and they've got Jewell Loyd here shooting free throws. She's hit all 5 she's taken tonight. Until right there.
Once again, yes. But you look at, sorry, you go.
Loyd has 17 points tonight, now 18. They are 28-4 when she scores 20.
And she's right up there now, just about at 18 points. But once again, you know, I look at that free throw. 11 misses by the Indiana Fever. They are only down 14 points.
Breland step back on Stewart. That high arcing shot rattles out. Bird, pull up 3. She drills it.
You notice she took that little sneak peek over her shoulder to see where the defense was behind her. Obviously, no one was coming out to her, so Super doing what Super does. Nailing the 3.
Burst from Seattle. They've taken a 17-point lead. It's a 7-0 run for the 4-time gold medalist and the Storm. Here's tonight's heart-pounding moment, courtesy of Ascension St. Vincent. No better choice than this. Tiffany to Kelsey. The Mitchell connection in the third quarter there. Kelsey Mitchell, 17 points tonight. 6 of 16 from the floor, but Mitchell starting to find her groove a little bit more as Mitchell fires a 3 there off target.
So, Pat, that was a good look for Kelsey Mitchell, but what I'm going to say is when Tierra McCowan gets the ball that close to the basket, she needs to look for something herself first.
Sue Bird dials up another 3. She's hit 3 from out there tonight. It's the 8th for Seattle on the evening. It's a 10-0 run for the Storm, and what was a 10-point deficit has quickly ballooned to 20. Mitchell gets by Prince. See so much attention on Kelsey. Tiffany fires it back to her, and Mitchell hits a 3. It's her 3rd of the evening. Indiana has hit just 3 of their 16 attempts, though. All 3 have come from Kelsey. Non-Kelsey Mitchell Fever players are 0 for 7 from the perimeter tonight. As Prince scores in the paint. It's one of the goals, I think, here for the season for Indiana as we get closer and closer to that midway point to find a secondary shooter from the perimeter. Longer term for this franchise, Julie Alamon certainly is that, but you don't have her this year. And they've struggled to find perimeter shooting in her absence.
Boy, she was fun to watch last season. But off doing national team duties, as there are quite a few players right now bouncing back and forth with that.
Here's a Tiffany Mitchell 3 off target. Prince gets back inside. That's McCowan's 5th rebound tonight.
So Pat, just with Tiffany Mitchell struggling, and I know you had mentioned how many threes she had missed in a row up to this point. There was one time in my career, I think I had missed over, as we see Breland knocking down that mid-range jump shot. I think I had missed somewhere up around that 25 mark, number of threes in a row. And we were coming into playoffs against the Detroit Shock, and I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with Larry Bird on the phone to try and give me some words of wisdom. He just said, let them fly. Just keep letting them fly.
And you broke out of it?
I did.
Kelsey Mitchell attacking on the other end. She'll go to the free throw line.
I also bragged about the fact that I was talking to Larry Bird on the phone for the next 10 years after that.
You know what? That's one of the people that you can name drop. You get to talk to Larry Bird. You get to talk to anybody with the last name Bird. You can name drop it.
Well, it became Lazar in the end as my story got bigger and bigger.
You also have the record for, what is it? You had a game where you had 4 threes where you didn't miss a shot.
Might have been 5. Don't shortchange me there. 5, I think,
Sorry.
but that was the only shot I took. But
Tamika Catchings, the legend. Pastor Gondresic will check back in. I always wonder, players like that, I mean, you can attest to this too. You know, the competitive fire that Tamika has, that you have, how tough it is to watch a basketball game and not be able to step on the floor and impact it.
you do find yourself at times kind of squirming and moving around in your chair a bit, yes.
Mitchell hits the free throws. Jordan Canada will take a timeout. Seattle up by 15 points here in the final 3 minutes from Indianapolis. You can download the Indiana Fever app for the most up-to-date news, scores, and content. Get your behind-the-scenes fix with photos and videos directly from your phone. Download the app today. It's available on Google Play or the App Store. 2:53 here remaining from the Coliseum. Take the kids out to an Indiana Fever game. We certainly missed getting to see fans in person. This is such a treat to have basketball back in home markets. And 2 straight against the Seattle Storm on Thursday. If you're in the Indianapolis area, we would love to have you here. FeverBasketball.com is where you can purchase tickets. If you cannot, it'll be our first game on Valley Sports Indiana. Great to have Valley Sports along for the ride this season. We will be with them for 5 games this year. As Indiana will certainly look to make adjustments off of this game.
Well, that's going to be, as you said, you don't have much time to have another crack at Seattle, and it will be interesting to see the adjustments that are made.
Prince pulls up and hits. Tiffany Prince, as Noel Quinn has gone with an all-bench unit here. This is game 4 of a 5-game road trip for Seattle. They are gone for 10 days. They've got a couple of these this year. Mitchell putting on the move. Step back two. That is pure. Kelsey Mitchell showing off how many ways she can beat you. See if she can catch a little rhythm here to close out Tuesday night. Maybe it'll carry over on a Thursday as Talbot back in the post. Takes it inside on Mitchell.
Talbot taking advantage there of just that mismatch, but Kelsey Mitchell, I mean, she's got such good handles as well. She's very quick to attack, and then as the defense steps backwards, she then pulls it back with a retreat or a step back, and just really trying to find her rhythm right now.
That's her season high of 24 points. 3-point shot, not falling quite at typical Mitchell levels this season as Magbagor running the floor lays it in. Marianne Stanley will take a timeout. Seattle has gone back up 19 points. 92 seconds remaining here from the Coliseum. The Indiana Fever and Anthem have teamed up to collect school supplies for teachers' treasures, and we're asking our fans to help ensure our teachers keep their classrooms stocked and safe. Running through September 24th, you will be able to drop off supplies at 2 more select Indiana Fever games. That's the 9th of July and August 31st, as well as donating virtually all summer long. Please follow your Indiana Fever on all social media platforms to find out more information on how you can help. Vivians finds some space and hits the deep 2. Victoria Vivians, who's played 9 minutes here tonight.
She's that player that we keep talking about to traveling violation being called on Kennedy Burke, former Indiana Fever player.
Marianne Stanley, by the way, has gone with a much shallower rotation here tonight. We are seeing Lauren Cox for the first time all evening. She steps onto the floor. Bench, which had 44 points on Saturday, 8 points so far tonight. Here's Cox on the pull-up. Thought Cox looked a lot quicker, like she had a little more energy, perhaps starting to get healthier as Canada leans in and scores. Fever could really use her production. 3rd overall pick back in 2020 has been hampered with injuries, ailments. She caught COVID last year right before the bubble started. As Mitchell hesitates, gets inside, and the finish. Well, that was pretty there for Kelsey Mitchell, who's got a season-high 26. Really starting to round into form here as we close in on the midway point of the season.
Lauren Cox as well just showed us also her range. That previous game against the Sky, knocking down a 3-point shot. So
Kondrasek was looking for Cox, who had already turned to get the rebound. Indiana will turn it over on their final possession. So the Fever got it within single digits in the 4th. But the Storm able to keep Indiana at an arm's length, and they win it by 17 points tonight. 20 for Brianna Stewart. Sue Bird with 17. As Indiana drops their 8th in a row. And Seattle remains perfect on their road trip. They are 4-0. We will be back to wrap it up and close things out from the Coliseum. Indiana Fever basketball is brought to you by Ascension St. Vincent, listening to you, caring for you. And by Ortho Indy, official orthopedic provider of the Indiana Fever. Final score tonight, 87-70. The Storm get their 11th win of the season. The Fever are back at it again. It's the same Seattle team on Thursday night. We'll have all the action for you. Our first game of the year on Valley Sports Indiana. For our director, Jamie Burns, producer, Brian Rogat, for Toli Bevilacqua and our entire crew, I'm Pat Boylan. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Thursday.